Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. Have you ever wondered what would be the origin of the famous Italians, the Italic peoples, and the ancient Romans, who were a great empire of antiquity? They dominated much of the world for a long time, under the command of their emperors, and became known worldwide not only for their gastronomy and cuisine, but also for their varied and renowned wines. These and other reasons make Italians one of the most curious and interesting peoples on the planet. Now, do you know the origin of these ancient Italics and Romans, according to the Bible? Find out more about this in another video from our series, The Origin of Peoples According to the Bible. Many people have asked me about the origins of the Italian people and their genetics, asking if they have any biblical ancestor. The answer to that question is yes. The Italians have not only one biblical ancestor, but several, all coming from the descendants of Noah. The genetic history of modern Italians was greatly influenced by geography and history. Most Italians today are identified as descendants of the Italic peoples, among whom the most notable were the Latins and the Romans. Additionally, we find the Umbrians and Sabines contributing to the ancestral diversity of this people. The origins of Italians, both in Italy and in their descendants around the world, reflect a very diverse genetic point of view. In fact, Italians are one of the most diverse peoples in all of Europe, as different populations have settled over the centuries in their territory. Initially, some Near Eastern farmers such as Syrians and Phoenicians contributed Semitic and Phoenician genetics to ancient Italians. These genetic influences from various sources have made the history of Italians fascinating and rich in diversity. Today's Italians are the result of a rich ethnic mix throughout history. Among the peoples who contributed to this diversity are the Italics, Ligurians, and Etruscans. In addition, the Phoenicians and Greeks also participated in this miscegenation process. Today's Italians also have genetic traits from Celtic peoples, Goths and Lombards, all of Germanic origin. The Byzantine presence, coming from the later Greeks, as well as the Franks, a Germanic tribe, also influenced the genetic makeup of the Italians. Additionally, there are traces of Arab and Berber ancestry due to the significant travels and migrations that occurred in the region, involving the people from the Middle East, the Arabs, and the Berbers from North Africa, resulting from the Islamic expansion that reached the Iberian Peninsula and extended to other parts of Europe, including some regions that now comprise Italy. This ethnic diversity is also evidenced by the presence of groups such as the Albanians, Swabians and Austrians, among others, who contributed to the formation of the Italian peoples, as we can observe from a genetic point of view. The history of Italian origins is marked by a rich tapestry of cultures and peoples that have intertwined over the centuries. You might be wondering why I mentioned the Italian people in relation to their genetic origins. This is due to the fact that they are extremely diverse and carry a variety of ethnicities in their genome. A curiosity about the Italians is the striking visual difference between those from the north and those from the south. Northern Italians have greater genetic proximity to the French, influenced by the Celtic and Germanic genetic contributions present in the region. In southern Italy, the concentration of Arab, Berber and Near Eastern peoples, such as Syrians and Phoenicians, resulted in a population genetically more similar to some Middle Eastern peoples, such as Arabs. During the 14th century, several Germanic tribes and some Slavic tribes migrated south and west, invading the Roman Empire in search of fertile land. The Vandals were the first to arrive in Italy, migrating to the Iberian Peninsula before heading to North Africa, where they founded a kingdom that also included Sicily, Sardinia and Corsica. In 475, several East Germanic tribes ended the reign of the last Roman emperor and created the Kingdom of Italy. Between 476 and 493, the kingdom was dominated by the Ostrogoths, who ruled all of Italy, except Sardinia, until 553. They were succeeded by the Lombards, who ruled from 568 to 774 and had conflicts with the Byzantines for control of Italy. The Lombards settled most densely in northeastern Italy, a region known as Lombardy, their homeland, which was inhabited by this Germanic tribe. It is interesting to note that Lombards from this region have lighter eyes and lighter skin compared to other Europeans and even Italians from other regions. In addition, Saracens of Arab origin invaded Sicily and southern Italy, establishing a large emirate that lasted from 831 to 1072. These political changes and historical migrations contributed to the formation of Italy as we know it today. The story of the biblical origins of the Italians begins in chapter 10 of the book of Genesis, verses 1 to 2, which describes the generations of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham and Japheth, to whom sons and daughters were born after the flood. As we have discussed previously, history and the various migrations of peoples that arrived in Italy resulted in the formation of Italians as a people of mixed origin. We can define the Italians as a combination of different European peoples, especially of Japheth descent, representing white peoples. In addition, they also have a share of Semitic ancestry, originating from Near Eastern Arabs and farmers, as well as Berbers, who have Semitic genetics. Another contribution to the formation of Italians is the descent of Canaan, son of Ham, representing a Canaanite origin. Biblically, it is believed that the ancient Italians, including the Romans, were descended from Tiras, one of the main heirs of the Italic tribes, which, in turn, belonged to the Etruscan people. Tiras is known as the father of the ancient Italians and was the sixth son of Japheth, being the sixth grandson of Noah through Japheth's lineage. The name Tiras has a deep etymological meaning according to the Assyrian language. It refers to two important characteristics that popularized the Italian people and the ancient Romans. Firstly, it is related to the cultivation of grapes and the production of wine, suggesting that the Italians were, since antiquity, cultivators and vintners, producing different types of wines. In addition, the name also has a stimulating or encouraging connotation, which can be associated with the entrepreneurial spirit and creativity of Italians in wine production. The ancient Romans were known for their winemaking, a tradition that continues to this day. This rich wine culture is intrinsically associated with the Italians. It is noteworthy to point out that the biblical names of ancient Semitic languages had meanings that reflected physical characteristics, events or feelings experienced by people, whether in the past or in the present. By naming their children, parents sought to convey the context or meaning of what they were experiencing. Names in the Bible and their characters have deep meanings relating to events in their lives, often highlighting other important information. It is relevant to point out that the ancestors of all mankind, coming from the ancient sons and descendants of Noah, it was not only Tiras who became involved in the cultivation and production of wine, but also his grandfather Noah, who also cultivated wine as mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 9 verses 21 to 23. The meaning of the name Tiras appears to be associated with Italians, suggesting that Tiras could have been a prime ancestor of ancient Italian wine growers. This makes Tiras the ancestral father of all Italic peoples, including the famous ancient Romans. However, it is important to mention that today's Italians are not exclusively descended from Tiras, as there was an admixture with Javan descendants, who are the ancient Greeks according to the Bible. Javan, one of the sons of Japheth, is the ancestor of the Greeks, and therefore there is a mixture of Greeks and Romans in the origin of present-day Italians. In short, today's Italians have ancestors both among the Greek peoples and among the ancient Roman Italics, remembering that the Italics descended from Tiras and the Greeks from Javan. In addition to the Greeks, the ancient Italians also experienced interbreeding with other peoples, including descendants of Japheth. This miscegenation involved, in smaller numbers, some peoples of Ashkenazic descent, originally from Scandinavia. Soon we will make a video detailing its origins. As for the language spoken by the descendants of Tiras, that is, the ancient Italics and Italians, it was Latin. This language served as the basis for several other languages known as Latin languages. For example, Spanish and Portuguese are languages derived from Latin. The Latin language was one of the languages resulting from the different languages that originated in Babel. For those who are not familiar, we have a video about the family tree of human languages, which link will be available in the description for a better understanding. Latin is part of the Indo-European family and originates from one of the ready-made languages used at Babel during the confusion of languages. Now, talking about the Italian ethnicity, the majority of Italians from all regions of the country have dark hair and eyes. However, approximately 10% of Italians have blue and green eyes, a characteristic more common among Northern European peoples, especially among the descendants of Germans. If you've made it this far, please leave a like and share with others so they can learn about the biblical origins of Italians. Don't forget to follow the other videos in our series. You can find the playlist with various other ethnicities at the end of this video. Leave a comment with suggestions for other ethnicities you'd like to see represented in our series. See you soon.